Hello and welcome to the Fat Dad Fishing Show. My name is Rich Natoli. I'm your regular host, joined by the ever lovely and ever talented Ed Gobo, owner of Captain Hank's Tackle. Ed, how are you?
I'm doing well. I got out this week and went fishing. I'm happy, so I'm doing good this week.
It's been good fishing.
Last week I was freezing at a soccer field. I ended up buying one of those little camping heaters.
Yeah.
And I prop it up in front of me now, so I stay warm.
Anyone that had, well, your kid's also in one of the higher levels of soccer, so you're going to be playing in the worst weather all year round. So yeah, invest in some good outdoor heating and equipment.
Yeah, that $50 propane heater was worth every penny.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that, I say that as somebody who went through it with two kids all the way up to college. And man, after every season, we're like, oh, we should just buy it. And then you don't. I'm glad you bought
I couldn't wait any longer. And I mean, yesterday we were up in Princeton and we get to this field and I'm literally sweating. 2 nights before, I'm shivering with a heater in front of me. It was bizarre.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Welcome to soccer.
Lovely weather.
Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We are back again with another episode. This one's going to be a pretty cool one. We have, it's funny. I was looking back at the episodes, and Scotty is actually one of our last episodes because he was one of the ones that kind of, came on at the tail end of before we went over to Salt Straw.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a year ago, so it's going to seem like it's been forever.
Yeah, I wanted to get Scotty back on because he's just a good wealth of local knowledge and advice. I mean, I could text him with any kind of question or anything, and he'll 100% answer it. No BS, and he's definitely good fit with what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I'm going to say I'm constantly, well, you and I were in a text chain today, and it talks to the people that we have on this show and we have connected with since starting the show. And one of the people that was in the text chain, I'm not going to say who it was texting and saying, yeah, I was just talking to Joey Leggio. And I'm like, yeah. And he was offering some really good advice with striped bass. And
although I think we should probably drop the name because we have an announcement for that too.
What, we do?
Well,
you want to announce it?
Why not? I mean, This is the last show we're going to do beforehand, right?
Okay, go ahead.
So we are fishing. Rich, myself, and Don Mace. We're fishing the Battle of the Back Bay tournament in Absecon. That's Veterans Day weekend. So I think it's 12th, right?
Yep, Sunday.
Captain's meeting is the 11th. So
yep,
we're going for the 10 Gs.
Yeah, and we got Leggio like chiming in to help us out. We're going to be pumping Scotty afterwards for some information. We're going to be asking everybody. It's going to be a fun tournament. It's going to be an interesting tournament. Very limited area that you can fish.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting rules. We're not going to go into those. We can go into that next week. Afterwards, we'll do kind of a rundown of how it went or didn't went, depending on how we do.
Well, fingers crossed we do good.
I think we'll do really well. And I honestly, I just want Don to get the win on his boat. That would be awesome for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, hey, I want to be a part of the winning team too, but it's going to be there's a lot of really good people in this.
Yes.
So it's not one of those, hey, whoever shows up at the tackle shop in the morning is entered for the day. There's 8,000 people, it's a very limited
30 boats.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun.
One of my bucktail customers got an order before the tournament, so I told him if he wins with my bucktails, he's got to cut me in.
Well, you couldn't delay it. Come on, man. Oh well. All right. Well, we'll be competing against your gear. It's all good. All right, we're going to bring Scotty on in 1 second. Want to say hello to everybody in the chat. We have John Hutchinson, James Flynn, Mr. Johnson, Rob Widmeyer. Scotty is also in the chat. Nick Devereaux, Larry Matzinger, JC Lynch from Virginia. Good to see you, man. Crabbing and Fishing. And who else have I missed? Heaven and L and Carl Ward. Good to see all you guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. We really appreciate it as we get back on our regular schedule. And tonight, as we mentioned, we have Captain Scotty Sevins coming on. We're going to bring him on right now. Captain,
hey guys,
man,
what's up?
It's so good to talk to you again.
Yeah, it really is. I got to tell you, so I just got my dog excited by saying, "What's up, guys?"
Well, your dog's like a favorite. Yeah, what
Yeah,
color?
make her appearance, Starla.
Yeah, no
Yep.
different colors on her this time. No,
No, she still does, but her tail needs to be re-dyed.
Oh, there it is. Yep, the
Her
purple
roots
tail.
are showing. But anyway, she's got to get her fat dad appearance in. But how's it go? I just got to first say that I'm so excited and so happy that you guys are back doing the fat dad thing, because this is by far my favorite fishing podcast out there, and you two are my favorite hosts. You really are. There's a lot of people doing it, but you guys, there's something about the way you do it that I can just really vibe and appreciate. So.
Well, it's all about just talking fishing with people that love fishing and inviting everyone in to kind of sit in and chime in into the chat.
Yeah.
And it's
no
funny.
Ego. Like that's what I love most about you guys is there's zero ego with you, and there's a lot of that in the community. So you guys are a rare find, and it's really refreshing.
Yeah, you won't get a lot of ego from me or Ed. It's it's all about just recognizing what you do and you don't know, and understanding even when you think you know it all, you don't.
Nope.
So just own it. If you're not good at netting from a kayak, just own it.
Yeah.
I put a short video up just showing Ed with one of his net jobs just to make fun of him.
But I need to jump in on that, because that wasn't a normal net job for me. And at that moment, when I realized, I thought it was a big weak fish because there were reports of big ones in that area. So until I figured out what exactly it was, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to net it or I wanted to break it off or whatever. So when I'm sitting there with the rod and the net in the water, I'm like contemplating life decisions here as to what to do with this stupid bluefish. So
in a split second. Oh, it was a bluefish.
Yeah, it was a giant bluefish.
Look. We don't need any stories. We don't need. All I know is that the way I edited it down, it makes it look like you can't net, and that was the purpose. That was the point, and that's why I shared it. But with that said, nobody knows it was you instead of me. They could think it was me too. So, but it got a lot of views, so I thought that was funny.
Whatever. I'll be the butt of the joke this time.
Yeah, because I usually am. So
listen,
I
brother
just
Tom.
to share it.
Brother Tom has got my back.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Starla is the best looking one on the stream tonight. I think we can all agree with that. All right. So Scotty, we're going to get in and talk fall fishing with you, but I wanted to bring up something that I pulled off of social media. Another person that I'm in contact with Long Island Lethals. Those of you that do not follow Long Island Lethals on YouTube, you really should. I mean, great content. And he posted a video, and I looked at it and I said, I want to put that on the live stream. Are you good with that? He said, absolutely. Let me edit it. And he sent me a copy today. I'm only going to play a little bit of it, and we're going to play it without sound simply because I don't have the time to edit out some of the language that's in here. But it is great, and he gives a good explanation. Yeah, he gives a good explanation for what's going on. So I'll kind of narrate a little bit. And as a captain, fishing for striped bass or fishing for tog, I want you to kind of put yourself in the position of the person taking the video. All right. And then we'll get some reactions here. This is this is ridiculous. All right, let me get this open here. All right, so this is up near Long Island, and here we go. All right, so you can see the boat pulled right up on him. I'm going to tell everybody this is on a GoPro, so this is much, much closer than it looks. All right. You can see the captain keeps opening the window. These guys have been sitting there for well over an hour with nobody around.
Are they anchored? I can't really tell. I'm just trying to get.
They're on spot lock.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if they were on spot lock because I think he was trying to get them off the hook. But it looks like the trolling motor is down though. So, but it's still running. He's doing the explanation. The captain with a full boat is yelling at him that he stole his spot.
Okay.
And it gets better. So that's him right up in there. I'm going to skip forward. Look at what he does here. And I want everyone to see the name. Helen 3 out of Groton, Connecticut.
Uh,
And I don't care if look at the guy saying up front, he's saying, you're killing a good bite. You're killing a good bite. Look at these guys on the back. Like, what the heck is going on? And look what he does. This is what makes me think he's trying to get him off the hook because he's trying to get the wake.
Yeah, but if you look in the
he was
to the
trying
left
to,
of the
he was trying to throw a
trolling
spotlight
motor.
off.
Yeah. So that was that. And you can see at the very beginning.
I was going to say, started over from the beginning because they're by themselves on this wreck. They're literally by themselves.
Yeah, you can see them pulling in. Nice tog right there. There he is out there.
Gotcha. So none of this is surprising to me at all. Oh wow.
Yeah, this is the drone shot. Yeah. They put up the drone to take a picture of how close he is with the full.
Just move on, like. But here's the thing, guys. Like, I don't know if you've been on the water lately or during like the fall run, but it's absolutely crazy. This is why I don't fish Raritan Bay, because of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like even like the coast out of like Belmar, the ocean front, like it's just been bananas, like absolutely crazy this year. You know what I mean? I've actually been spot locked on wrecks and have had head boats, a big one from Atlantic City, drop anchor up ahead of me by like 70 yards and drop back, force me off because I was a little boat and he was a big head boat on Atlantic City Reef. So none of this is surprising to me. People are just, they're going to be the way they're going to be. It's infuriating. It really is.
It's terrible. I usually don't mention names with these things or anything, but that's ridiculous. Todd Mann is Long Island Lethals. He's the one who sent it to me, and good captain, good guy. And that's not the way that he operates. And I know that you don't either. And I just wanted to see what your reaction would be to that. And I'm sure people have seen that happening and have had it happen to them in a kayak. It happens all the time.
Even worse, especially this fall. and I'm not going to mention any like headboat names, but all those big, well-known headboat captains, I think everybody and their brother has gotten into it with them this year.
Yeah.
It's just wild. I don't know. Still, it's amazing to me, even since COVID, the popularity of fishing and how much it's grown.
Yeah.
Because like, even like you'll go out on a random Tuesday, and this is during the week, like this fall even, and you would think it's freaking 4th of July out there. Literally, there's so many boats giving away free booze on 4th of July. It's it's just wild. It's like battle fishing. That's why I spend so much money on gas running around like a nutcase, like trying to get away from it.
Well, the funny thing is, now in that video they were tog fishing. I don't know what the other boat was fishing for, because they were drifting. But there's no need to be, especially with the striped bass. You see these guys pushing into the fleet. It's like, dude, those bunker are moving. You see them come up 100 yards north of you. They're flying at you. They're coming right at you. Just wait. They'll come by. And then another school will come after it. I don't understand why people think that they need to jump on top of people, and Ed, you've had some bad experiences with boats trying to wake you out. I've had it. People just don't care in kayaks. They'll try to tip you over and make you lose your gear.
Real quick, we were in Atlantic City and had a popular boat. There was a group of kayaks fishing. This captain directed all his customers to go to the bow of the boat in order to push as much wake as possible. And the guy almost knocked one of us off. Like I said, there was about 4 or 5 of us in kayaks.
Yeah, we'll share the name of that boat off air with you, Scotty.
Okay. Yeah.
might be the same one that's pushing everyone off of wrecks. Yeah. So I want to bring that up because you know what? It's something that's interesting to see, something everybody runs into, and it is part of fall fishing. You know, the
Yes,
fleets out there are
yes.
like they used to be back in the day for fluke fishing down in the Delaware Bay. It's just boat after boat after boat. And it only takes one guy who doesn't know how to fish. And I'm going to put that captain in there. He doesn't know how to fish. He obviously just needed to go on top of Todd to find the fish, or he only has spots that were marked by his great great granddaddy back in 1940 that he's still fishing.
Yeah,
And that's the way I look at it, because any real captain, any real fisherman can find the other 34 spots within a quarter mile of that for tog.
correct.
Yeah. So anyway, thought that would be interesting, but let's talk about how you've been doing this fall, because you man, anyone who hasn't looked at your Instagram needs to. You have what, 15, 16, 17,000 followers.
Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah.
Scotty's blowing it up.
It's the Instagram I want to talk about first, because nobody takes pictures like Scotty, and
Thank
you
you.
have your trademark. I mean, that's why you're on the cover of magazines. You
Yeah.
have your trademark perspective and everything. So I've seen some nice fish, but what's your summary of the fall run so far?
Epic gets thrown around quite a bit, but it really has been. Last year was like, I didn't think the fall could last, anything could beat last fall. But this fall, and especially the length of time that we've had the big monster bass hanging around for is just incredible. It really is. Usually, I mean, in past years, you get them for a shot at them for a few weeks before they disappearing, and they just seem to be holding longer and longer and longer every year. Like, I mean, we're going on a solid month now of like, it's not uncommon to get on a 50-inch bass, you know?
Right.
And if not, 48, 49, 47, like fish like that is just, I mean, a one fish like that could make somebody's season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to to be the sort of thing where it's happening on a daily basis, every other day, weekly, whatever the case may be, that's like, it doesn't get any better than that. And the amount of other like wildlife and sea life that I'm seeing out there is just, it's another thing that gets thrown around quite a bit, the Natural Geographic reference, but it really has been. Um, the other day, I had actually multiple thresher sharks busting up a bunker pod. The one was almost completely out of the water multiple times, just completely destroying bunker pods.
Yeah.
Same day, the bass bite was really slow. I was running around chasing a dozen or more giant bluefin feeds, like fish in the 200, 300, 400 pound range, just airing out of the water. In fact, this year, I actually did get spooled maybe like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, completely. And there was nothing I could do to maneuver out of the fleet fast enough
Yeah.
before this fish hit the jets. I actually had a couple of buddies around me that saw it. I had one buddy, he kind of maneuvered out of the way first. And I asked this one guy, I was like, could you just back up a little bit so I can squeeze out of here? Wouldn't do it. And ended up, that was that.
Yeah.
But that's it. It is something like, I don't mind paying the $40 for more line when you get spooled like that. It's a heartbreaker, and it's something that you think about, but it's also a pretty incredible experience too.
So you sound like me. Like, I will literally make it spool the entire reel. I've fished with a lot of people who'll just grab the knife and cut the line as it's going out.
Hell no! What's the fun in that?
Yeah, I don't
That's
like
what we get up for,
Yeah, I don't like the idea of
Mhm.
having 200 yards of braid behind a fish. However,
Yeah,
I've had it down to, you're looking at the silver spool coming up real
yeah,
quick. You could see it through the line, and I've gotten it all back. And
yeah.
I
You
just
have you?
I have now surf fishing.
Yeah.
I've never had a fish do that on a boat or on a kayak. I have had it. Kayak actually, it pulls you, so that it adds more drag
It
and
helps a
more.
little bit.
It does
Actually.
help. It does.
Mhm.
But I've had it happen surf fishing, chasing it down the beach. You know, I ended up half a mile down the beach, but I got it in. It
Very
was
cool.
it was a big shark. It was nothing
Mhm.
special, but it was fun. It
But
was
still,
fun.
it's fun. That's why we do it, though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Exactly. So you've had some really nice fish, and there's an
Yeah.
interesting story to one of them. The cover. I don't know if people looked at the thumbnail for this, but it's a pug nose bass.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah. You want
Oh,
to share that?
yes. I
That's a
forgot
that's
about
a
this. Oh, so this is a really crazy story. And I don't know, and I'm not saying it's the exact same fish. So last year,
I'll say it. It
1
is.
year ago to the week, within a couple of days, but it was 1 year to the week to the day, I caught a pug nose striped bass, and I'm obsessed with pug nose. Now this was a partial pug; it wasn't in, like, its entire upper jaw, but it was a very distinct fish. That same week this year, and it was just the other week, I went out and caught a fish, and I was like, "I'll be damned! This is almost literally the identical size, shape, same pug, same features, same everything. I caught that fish again. It was just a little bit fatter this year.
yeah.
And it's a couple posts ago on my Instagram. But the other crazy part is it was only within about a mile of where I got the one last year.
It's
And
got to
it's
be the
just
same
wild to
fish.
think about, of all the fish in the ocean, the potential for that happening. Now, I'm not saying it's the exact same fish, but my God, it is, like, the similarities are, I mean, they look identical to me. Like, a few of the comments that I got on it, that people thought that it's a real deal, legitimate possibility that it was, because it looks that close.
It does. Ed and I
It was a
were
very specific, it had very specific features, I'll say.
yeah. Ed
Yeah,
and I were
Rich
looking
and
at
I.
it.
Yeah, it's. I'll say it. It's the same damn fish.
Yeah,
I mean, what are the odds of two fish looking the same versus the
that's what I'm
odds of
saying.
catching the same fish? You know what I
And
mean?
be a pug at the same time, like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
gotta
that
be.
doesn't, I don't know what the ratios for how often that happens in the wild, but you know what I mean? Um, you
It's gotta
know,
be the same
like,
one.
I never would have known it otherwise. I would have been, okay, it's just another bass. But the fact that it was like the same exact pug nose striper, it was like, it was wild.
Now, do you
Yeah.
tag fish, Scotty?
So I have been. You know what? I should have put a tag in that fish, but I didn't. I regret it. And sometimes I'm not thinking, but I have been tagging a lot of fish this year. In fact, I started tagging the stripers a little bit later. I was tagging a lot of sheeps this year, but uh, for whatever reason, I was just so caught up in things. But the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been putting the tags in a lot of the bigger fish. You know what I mean? Like the 45-inch fish.
Yeah, so I would tell people, I'm not going to bring up the one from last year, but you can see on the screen this
Yep.
is the fish that we're talking about. You can see the pug nose.
I
Compare this
wish there
to
was a way that you could bring that up, because it's like it's really kind of mind blowing how similar
He can do it.
they were.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I can
But,
do it. You
like,
guys
when I
keep
look-
talking. Let me work on that.
When
Mhm.
I looked at the photos, I was looking like under the eye, that little rectangle piece,
Same.
and then like in between. I mean, you're not gonna see where I'm pointing, but between the gill plate on the backside
Yes.
and then that little rectangle between the eye, the way that is shaped is very unique.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very unique. It's a very unique looking fish.
Mhm.
Um,
Maybe you
and
should start tagging the pug noses.
yeah, I would. You know what, Ed? Like, I'm kicking myself for not doing that now. And it was just something, like, in the moment you're thinking, okay, grab a quick pick, get them back in the water as fast as possible. You know, like, there's 1,000 things happening
Oh,
within
yeah.
like about a 1 minute time frame, and it just wasn't something that I thought of, and I wish I would have. So,
All right. So here's the fish from a year ago.
yeah, no, that's the current one there that you have up. Yep, keep strong. It's the last one. There you go.
There it is.
That's the one from a year ago. I have 2022 on it.
Yeah. So Ed and I were like, trying to look at the scales and the patterns and the coloration and everything. It looks really similar.
Yeah.
Ed's convinced. I'm man, it really it really looks the same.
I'd put a paycheck on that. Like I said,
Yeah.
where that little rectangle piece is under the eye.
Right here.
Yes.
No, go down further, Rich. Down to the right a little bit. So that little rectangle right there where it kind of squares off.
Yeah.
Then if you go back just a hair, you see where that crease is?
Right here.
Yep, right there. So now go to the other picture and look at that. I mean, that's not a common marking on a bass.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's not common.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild story. You know what I mean? I've actually caught the same tog before, like one after another, but you know, you're dropping down, especially in the backwater of the same hole. It's like you get a hungry one. But what are the chances of an ocean fish? You know what I mean?
Especially with millions of them moving down the coast. Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. So let's talk about how you've been doing on them. You know, you said that it's close to epic. I mean, it's definitely going on longer than last year. So last year kicked off right after that storm came through, whatever that tropical storm was. Or hurricane.
So early October last year, it really kicked off, especially like in my area, like first week of October.
Right.
You know,
it was the 50 pounders outside the inlet.
Correct. Yep. And it was almost the same exact thing this year. And I was about a week late to the party this year, just because I was wrapping up backwater stuff and getting the boat up there. But yeah, it was like early October. And I remember, you know, like even like 6-8 years ago, 2015, 16, you know, you were November before those fish were like really starting to show up. So I really hope that's a testament to the new regulations that they've been putting in place and, you know, a change in the mindset of people releasing. So I really hope that it is. And I'm one guy that it is in favor for, you know, the new slot limit. Yeah, it makes it tough if you're like a meat hunter, but this stuff really works, you know, and we really need to model what we do after Florida, because Florida really knows how to take care of their fisheries and their precious resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's nice to see the Northeast starting to get behind some of that. It's kind of funny just because like my brain is not thinking about keeping fish almost ever. And a few times this year, like boats would pull up next to me, and this would usually happen on a weekend, like, oh, or back at the dock, and then we're like, yeah, couldn't get a keeper today. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like I didn't even think like that's not even in my thought process. But yeah, and they were actually bummed out that they didn't get a keeper, but they caught a 48-inch. You know what I mean? It's like, so there's still a lot of change that needs to happen with like some of the mindset. And listen, I am not a catch shamer, and I am not against people keeping what's rightfully within the legal limit. You'll never catch me online saying you shouldn't have kept that fish, even when you could keep a 50 or a 60-pound fish before. But I think a lot of what we're seeing now and why the last few years were so good is because of the efforts of conservation that really do.
Yeah, I think it very well could be. The concerning thing is, and look, I don't necessarily trust the quote unquote science and the calculations, but the recruitment is what, the second lowest in recorded history for this past year, which is not good. But there's also a growing argument that that's not speaking to the largest fish, because the largest fish have the least viable eggs when they spawn. And
do they really?
That's, well, I don't know. That's what I've read. It's kind of like a human, you know, the older the female, the less perfect things go, and that's kind of what they're using. So they're saying, you know, maybe it's actually,
and to be honest with you,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I don't know enough to be able to form an opinion, and I don't want to kind of talk out of turn or say anything about it
Oh,
because you know what I mean. So, but go ahead.
no, I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, me either.
I've just read that, and I'm interested in seeing where that goes, because there is,
I am too.
you know, there's a huge debate between the Chesapeake Bay guys and the New Jersey guys on what is the appropriate size fish to keep, and they keep the smaller ones, and we keep the
Mhm.
slot, and they're mad, and then we're mad at them.
Yeah,
But I
it's
don't
kind
know
of like
who's right.
fighting each other. Like with that, I will say that no matter what you do, no matter what size slot that you have, you're going to down the line affect a certain generation of fish. It's
Mhm.
just inevitable. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Um, I don't. So, but I do think that we're kind of on a better track with everything. You know what I mean? Than we have been in years past.
It
Uh,
certainly feels like it's better. It's still not, I don't care how good it is now. It's still not the way that it was back in the quote
no,
unquote day.
no
But it's
way.
definitely
Nothing
trending.
really is.
No, but it's
Yep.
trending in that direction. And you can even use weak fish as an example. Weak fish were all but gone. I mean, absolutely gone. Um,
Hmm.
and now you see people catching 35-inch, you know, just gator weak fish out there. So, there's huge tide runners. And there were years that I went trying to catch them and I didn't get anything. And now you can
Yeah.
almost not keep the spikes off of your hooks in the summer. So I think that's a
I
great sign. And I think that the striped bass definitely is a good sign. And I'm interested to see if anything happens with the bluefish. They seem to be coming back a little bit. But the bluefish used to just be all over
Yeah.
the place, and
Mhm.
these limits, I don't
Yeah.
know why they have to change the limits for charter boats and everything, and um, on some of these, right away. But either way, you're not seeing people filling up trash cans filled with them
No,
to come home and make
I
dog
know.
food out of.
And I got to tell you, yeah, I mean, like, I don't eat bluefish at all. For me, they're shark bait. But um, as a game fish, man, I really miss the big gator blues. I really do. And honestly, Ocean City, and this is just from my observation, I haven't seen like a consistent good bite of big gator bluefish in the Back Bay since 2017. That was the last year that I remember that they came in and just ravaged everything,
Yeah.
like the 15-pound class fish. And I just haven't seen them in the last few years. They've kind of been, it seemed like AWOL. Like, there was a bite that may have sprung up here or there, but like to my knowledge, it just doesn't. I don't know what's happened with them. But I will say this, that this summer it seemed like in my area we had a decent class of bluefish that kind of hung around. Seemed like they were kind of like hung around like the majority of the summertime.
Yeah, there were some nice blues taken in the back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the slammer size.
No,
Um,
no.
in the opening to this, in the intro video that we play, just so the notifications go out and everyone knows that we're live, you can see me pull in a big bluefish, and that was caught
Mhm.
just since the regulations went in. Not that it's going to do much in 1 year, but that was Raritan Bay, though. It was shallow water,
Mhm.
but that was Raritan Bay, right off of Staten Island, and that thing was big. I measured that out at 36 inches,
Wow,
and
that's a monster.
it was nice on flounder
Yeah.
gear. It was fun. It was opening day flounder or fluke for New York. So I went up to New
Hmm.
York to go fishing for him because I couldn't go in Jersey, and I hooked into that. Actually, that one I think I switched off. I think I switched off to Tog. I think I had Tog gear with me. Yeah. So
Okay.
I was able to catch on something with a little bit more heft to it that was able to handle it. But
Very
yeah,
cool. Yeah, that's a not. I don't remember. I don't even remember the last time I caught a bluefish of that size. I
yeah.
really don't.
Well, they're around. I mean, I've caught some in the
Yeah.
back too. I've caught some in the back.
Mhm.
Ed, you caught a decent one, but it wasn't like a 10-pounder.
No, no, I caught a decent. Yeah, this year, and the weight pretty far in the back too.
It was probably what 6, 7 pounds.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah. So it
conservatively.
seemed like I had a lot of those 6, 7 pounders around this year. And don't get me wrong, they're awesome and it was nice to see. But like those big slammers, those big gators, I just haven't really seen.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they continue to make the comeback. I'm going to close
Yeah.
out the poll that I put in the chat. I just put up there. Was it the same fish that you caught?
Mhm.
And 15 people voted. 87% say yes, and 13% say no. So
Okay.
it's trending towards a yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say that
goes-
13% is wrong.
yeah, Ed's firmly on the other
I am
side.
100% convinced.
Yeah, Ed
Yeah.
and I spent way too much time when we should have been doing other things.
It's very cool to
Studying
think
those.
about, nonetheless, though. You know what I mean?
It is. It definitely is. But that leads into
Yeah.
a question, Ed, if you want to put
Ye-
that up from Bayside Dave.
Bayside Dave wants to know what tag system that you use.
So, I'm worth Gray's fish tag research. So,
Oh, okay.
they're not like satellite tags or GPS tags or anything. It's just the regular poke tag, needle tag that goes in. You push it in. It's got like the little barb in, turn, done. It's kind of out. It's got the tag number on it, and I feed that back to Roxanne from Gray's Fish Tag Research. So Gray's Tax, I think it's a subsidiary of Gray's Taxidermy, which is a Florida company, and they do a lot of good for basically for a lot of fisheries, and they were doing a lot of tagging striped bass the last few years, and I know they actually put some GPS tags on some. Then those fish were ended up being tracked all the way out into the canyons. Some of them, like it was crazy stuff. So, like, I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, I would, like I said, I was tagging a lot of sheeps this year, and I really tried to focus on the larger double digit or near double digit sheeps to tag. I tagged a bunch of them this year because not much is known about them, and I don't want to get into that because we're totally out of that fishery. But yeah, so basically that's what I've been using.
I'll bring this up from Larry Matzinger. You can also use the American Littoral Society for
Yeah.
tag. That's actually what I use. It's really simple. You just join as a member and you can get the tags. It's like $10 for, I don't know, for 10 of them, or
Mhm.
$15 for 20, something like that. But it's really simple, really quick and easy. I didn't tag nearly enough this year, but I keep saying I'm going to do more and more. And once I make it a habit, then
Yeah.
actually maybe I'll bring them for the tournament so we can start tagging. We'll have some fun doing that as well.
Oh, also, I want to talk to you all fair about that tournament. I want to find out more about it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. All you need to know right now is that we're going to win it.
Okay.
Ed's
I
going
don't
to have,
doubt it.
yeah, Ed's going to have the biggest one on. He's going to lose it right before it gets to the boat. And then Don's going to come through with a bigger one. And I'm going to be the one stuck holding the camera because you got to video it. It has to be on video in the water and caught and released.
Who's going to be
So,
netting?
I guess Ed. I
Okay.
can net from a boat. That's been proven. I can net from a boat really well. Yeah.
So
That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, Bayside Dave is also saying he uses those same tags. So yeah, thank you for the
yeah, no
information
problem.
on that. So let's talk real quick. We're running out
Yeah.
of time, but I want to ask you, what are you using right now for your lures when you're out there? I'm assuming you're not using live bait or cut bait or anything like that. Are you using
So
your soft
a
plastics and
lot.
top water?
No, a lot of the bite this year has been live lining. It
Oh, I
has.
love that. Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah, and to be honest with you, and I'm not ashamed to say it, it's by far my favorite way to catch striped. Top water's amazing. It really does. It really is. But you've never felt like a hookup until you felt like a giant bass inhale an entire adult bunker in one scoop, and it
Bunker
braid
starts
shoots
going
through your
nuts.
finger, and it's just so violent, so
Yeah.
violent, and I love it, and that's what the majority of this has been, and uh, I know that there's a lot of people that are against it and blah 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 blah, and there's a lot of purists and but you got to do what works, man.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. And I had a trip the other day where one guy was live lining, the other guy he wanted to catch one on the fly, which I completely respect, and I love the grind and I love the determination. But the guy live lining literally caught a dozen fish, like with the majority being 43 inches to 48 inches, and the other guy didn't catch one.
Yeah.
And it's just a testament to you have to do what works. You know what I mean? To put fish in the boat. And things are going to shift. We're going to come into a shift, and it happened last year where, like, okay, we had the great live line bite, then top water season started, like all throughout November, and it was just nothing but top water, throwing top water plugs and everything else. I am doing a little bit of jigging, but I'm going to be honest, I haven't gotten a top water fish yet this year. Had a couple swirls, but I quickly took it off, hung it up, and traded it in for a live bunk.
I love using the live bait. There is nothing like throwing it out there, popping it once, and all of a sudden you have it off to your right, and all of a sudden your line is 30 yards to your left and coming tight on that circle. There's nothing like that. And it's just like
no doubt.
It's a full speed fish the second that you have the hookup. So all right, so then let's talk about that. So are you doing a snag? You're using a snag to get it, or are you going out with live spot? Okay, so you're snagging it.
It's all like snag hook.
Okay, so your snag hook, you're putting it on a circle. What size circle are you using, and what brand?
10-0.
10-aught.
I think I got these Mustad Ultra points here. It's pretty wide gap. So I have those, and as far as rigs go, and this is a lot of people are trying to get.
All right, hold on one sec.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. When you move over to the side, we lose your voice.
Yeah. I was reaching in my bucket to pull out something, but so the bite is good, stays solid around 9 o'clock, like a light switch. A lot of times the bite dies. Fish are still there, but they're harder to come by. And that's when you really want to try to get your bunker down closer to the bottom and or on the bottom, because a lot of those fish are just getting lazy. And the bigger fish don't want to chase anything. You know what I mean? They just want the easiest meal to come to them. So that's when the bite starts dying down and getting a little bit tougher, like that's when you really want to try to focus like on fishing the bottom.
Yep. Go deep.
Sending at least one down to the bottom.
Now, let me ask you, since I'm kind of the gear nerd.
Yeah.
Are you cast netting the bunker? Are you snagging them?
No, snag hook.
With
snag.
Like the traditional treble with the weight on it?
Yep.
Or have you tried the new? So there's like a new rig that these guys are coming out with using circle hooks. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw that.
I got to be honest with you, and I'm going to say this, and I will probably get a lot of hate for this, but I was very late to the party with the circle hook thing when it was first enacted. And I will tell you this year, I got hooked and killed more fish with circle hooks than I ever did fishing live lining on jigs or jays.
Really?
And that's all I'm going to say. And I don't believe that the circle hook thing is any better or worse. Yes, there's dead bass floating out there because there's 1,000 boats fishing for them and people not mishandling things. But I don't believe that this circle hook thing is doing fish any favors.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. I know the one thing that people have to keep in mind is you have to maintain contact with that bait too. And Scotty, obviously, I'm not saying you're not.
Yeah.
But it's not a dead stick. Don't ever dead stick a circle hook. Yes, it will still hook up, but if it swallows the whole bait, it's going to hook up, and it's going to hook up down in the gut as
Yeah.
it starts to come out.
A lot of it, but even even like lining backwater this year, especially, man, like bass will pile on a spot and it's just like gulping gone, and there's like, even
Yeah.
like because like especially this year, like I really I mean that's what I fished. I fished circle hooks this year.
Yeah.
And I just can't tell you how many bass hook's gone, just got to cut it off. And that was fishing a circle hook on a tight drag. So as soon as they grab it, it's like instant hookup. But
Yeah.
the bass they're just gulping them down. It really
Yeah. I mean, they inhale. It's not like a bluefish that'll chomp. It's just going to inhale.
Yeah,
It literally
exactly.
just sucks the entire thing in. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, I could see it. I don't have that experience with a lot of gut hooks. But hey, we all have different experiences, and there's I guess nothing's perfect. So we're coming up against the end. Ed, well, Scotty, you wanted to do a little bit of a giveaway, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right.
So Ed, I think you were responsible for the content for this. Yep.
So Scott wants to give away a hat to one of our viewers. This is going to be for the live. Unfortunately, we won't be.
Yeah, if you're listening on the podcast, it's over. It's done. You missed it.
Come see the lives. So Scott wants to give away a hat. So the first person to correctly answer in the chat is going to receive it. So I chose, what tag system does Scott use? Ready, go.
All right. So the first person to put in the company is going to get the hat. Am I allowed to answer?
No.
Good, because we're actually a couple seconds ahead of the chat. So
James
Flynn.
with it. Oh, all right. I'll tell you what. I've been fishing so close to that. I'll give away that.
All right. So he's going to give away two. One to James Flynn,
so
one to
James
Ben.
and crabbing and fishing. Okay, since James was first, you get a choice. Do you want white or blue, James?
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah.
All right, James, which one do you want?
Well, James,
white or blue?
That's my Instagram. You can just both of those guys do. Just okay. James is taking blue. And both of you guys just send me an Instagram DM and I'll get them to you.
That's awesome.
James Flynn.
That's awesome. Now I feel like we need to do one too, but we're not going to do one today.
I want a Fat Dad shirt.
We've got the swag. Look at it. We got the new sweatshirt here.
I actually need help with swag. I'm trying to get swag made up.
I'll help you. I don't do it like some people where you go and you buy 50.
Yeah.
And hope that you sell 50 and you sit on that. It's all printed.
Yeah,
order,
makes sense.
Printed order.
Yeah,
I can help you with that, Scotty. We can talk.
Yeah.
I can help you get that set up. And actually you can sell it through your Instagram directly. So
cool.
So listen, everybody, we're gonna wrap it up here. We've committed to going under an hour. It was supposed to be half an hour, then it went to 45 minutes. Now we're over 45. Look, it is going to be what it is going to be.
I think you got to stop putting like constraints on stuff, because we're just blowing through them left and right.
Yeah. And listen, I could literally have talked to you guys another half hour. This is hands down my favorite show to do. Love you guys. I'm so great to be back on this show. And you're back doing this again. And thank you again for having me on.
I appreciate it, Scotty. You're one of our favorites, and unlike a lot of the other shows, we find people that we love hanging out with, and the people in chat love hanging out with. So people are welcome back whenever. And you know this, Bayside Dave knows this. He's in the chat, Heaven and L. If you guys want to just come on, just let us know. Send me an email. Just say, hey, I'd like to come on and talk about this or that. You don't even have to be a captain. You don't have to. Yeah, you just have to be somebody that fishes and wants to share some things. And we're going to look at getting more of the people that are participating in the chats into some of the streams and live with us as well, because look, it's a show about fishing, and there's not a single person that watches or listens during the week or during the year that doesn't have something to offer and can't just sit down and shoot the shit about fishing for 45 minutes to an hour, and sometimes an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what we're talking about and how we get going. So we're going to be inviting other people on. So obviously, Scotty, you're welcome back at
Very
any
cool.
time.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And like me and Ed, like I've been over to Ed's house a couple times. Like we would just hang out in his shop for hours. Like, just love you guys. You're great.
That's what it's about.
People, man.
That's what it's about.
I love his shop. He has everything going on in his shop, and all he ever does is apologize for how messy it is.
Oh, it's a show.
No, but it's like one of the best shops and man caves you could literally.
Yeah.
Like anything you want to make or build, it can be done and fabricated in his shop. It's really impressive. I wish I had more skill like he does. He's like one of those guys that can just pick things up and like jump right into rod building, and he's turning out killer rods. And
all right, you guys are gonna give me an ego now. Cut it out.
Well, don't worry, we'll tear it back down. We'll tear it back down.
A lot of you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't have a guest scheduled for next week. As of right now, it's looking like it'll be me and Ed. We'll see if we'll get Don to come on and talk. We'll probably just do a rundown of the tournament, what went on, what the fishing was in detail, and have a lot of audience interaction. But who knows? Maybe somebody will chime in and say, "Hey, I want to come on," and we'll bring a guest on. But we're kind of playing it by ear right now.
Before we go, I got a few things to touch on.
Yeah.
Wrong one. Sorry, James. Jack West is asking if we're going to talk about the windmills.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we will be.
We're trying to plan an episode on that with a guest. So yes, that is not going to go away. It's great news, in my opinion, that they pulled out and there are no windmills.
Major win there.
There's still more work to be done, because that's just one company. There's, I think, 2 other ones. So
yeah. I don't believe it's done. I think that people think it is, and it's not. But we're hoping to have a guest come on. That is an important topic for New Jersey specifically right now, but it's really for the entire coast, because if you look at every state, they have plans for similar wind farms out off of their coast, all up and down the entire eastern coast. So we're definitely going to try to cover that, and we're going to have a guest on for that we're trying to work out some times with right now.
I have 2 more. Dave, you're welcome anytime. And Steven, get a hold of me.
What did Dave say?
Oh, I'm sorry. Dave wants to come to the shop. So Dave is welcome at any time. And then Steven is asking about how to get a rod. Just get a hold of me and we'll put it together.
Yeah. CaptainHagsTackle.com is the website.
Yeah,
just head over there.
Actually, Ed's going to be building me a rod.
That one's going to break the internet. Yeah, that one is going to, I can't wait.
Yep. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't have a rod from Ed yet, but looking forward to buying one soon. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun going through the process with him. If you guys don't know Ed very well, he loves to dive into the details and get stuff right the first time. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a good experience. You're going to be happy with what you get. So Ed, you've got orders piling up in chat right now. So
yeah, just contact me on social media, or if you have my phone number, shoot me a text.
Awesome. We also have a recommendation for a guest on the wind farms, which I will pull out of here. Thank you, Jack West. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in again. We'll be back next week. We'll figure out the topic this week. And look, the striped bass are just up and down the coast. We've had a little bit of cooling. We've had a little bit of warming. That's going to affect the bite from day to day or throughout the day. But as Scotty said, those fish are there. And
Absecon Inlet guys, get out there because they're here.
Yeah, you just got to go to the grind.
In the South Jersey, like Absecon, those fish are there. You just got to cover some water.
Yep.
you know,
Just
to find
be
them.
willing to grind. It's not
Yeah.
always circus fishing where they're just jumping out of the water and into the boat.
No.
Sometimes you
And
gotta work
burn
for it.
gas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Captain Mike got a 50-pounder outside Atlantic City yesterday. So
Mhm.
they're here.
Nice. Congrats. All right, Starla. One more look at Starla.
Yep, there she is.
Love her. Scotty, thanks again. Thank you everyone
All
for
right,
tuning
thanks,
in.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, till
Yep.
next time, get out there, get on the water, and get some tight lines.